If you are finding yourself overwhelmed by clutter and you aren't sure where to start, let me help you out. There are so many reasons that we want to get out from under the clutter. First of all, it is distracting. Second, it's harder to maintain a tidy home. And third, clutter can actually increase our stress hormone cortisol, which can lead to negative feelings, inability to focus, and decrease productivity. If that isn't a reason to get rid of the clutter, I don't know what is. So, today I'm actually sharing 9 simple habits or routines that you can use to get rid of the clutter, get your home organized, and feel great doing it.
Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renae Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast.
If you do have a lot of clutter, I first of all just want to make sure that you know that you are normal, that there is nothing special about somebody that is able to keep their home decluttered. It is just habits that they have put into place. So there's nothing wrong with you. You can get rid of clutter. It's just going to be a matter of intentional habits and putting those things into place. And eventually, over time, you will find that your home does not become as cluttered as it does now. So, one of the things that I still struggle with, like, I love having clutter free spaces, but I have a natural tendency to accumulate a lot of stuff, and it's usually kind of junk. But I have to intentionally declutter spaces quite often because it accumulates so quickly. And before you realize it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is driving me absolutely bonkers. And then I realize, like, I have to just declutter the space, and then I do it, and it's fine for a while, and then I have to go back and do it again when it starts driving me crazy again. So if you have not gone through your whole house and everything just isn't decluttered, then it's okay. And we are going to do this together. We're going to do it small in bite-sized pieces so that it doesn't feel overwhelming, but you can still get out from under it. So we're going to go straight into the 9 things that you can do, because there are several of them. So I don't want to take up too much of your time today because I know you're busy. Okay, so the first habit that you can do to reduce the clutter, organize your home is number one, use what you have before opening new items. And this might sound self explanatory, but it is amazing how often we open another type of product or thing without using up what was currently in use. This is anywhere from dish soap, shampoo, cleaners, laundry detergent, makeup products, hair products, anything like that. If you find that you have more than one open and in use, it creates more clutter. So I love having things on hand where I know, like, I have, dish soap in the basement. I have extra laundry detergent. I have extra Kleenexes, toilet paper rolls, paper towels, things like that. I know that we purchase extra because I don't like running out of those things, but we have to make a point not to open them until the first one is completely gone. Are you home where, like, if you go into the bathroom, how many shampoo bottles are in the shower? Like, is it just one? And once that's finished, then you replace it? Or do you have like 4 different kinds going on in there? And all of a sudden you've got all these bottles that you're kicking around because they don't even fit on the shelves and it just becomes kind of chaos. Those are the types of things you're looking for. Are you using more than one item for that item? Now, you can have extras. Like I said, I have a lot of extra things so that they can replace when I run out of something. But if you are opening multiples before it's gone, then that's when the clutter happens. So make sure that if you do buy extra so that you have it on hand, make sure it's in an organized space so that you kind of have like a little storeroom or storage area where you keep these products so that when you do run out of something, you know where to go to get it, or you know what to review when you're making your shopping list and where those things would be. So you can see if you're running out, but make sure you're not grabbing any of them until the other products are actually gone so that you don't have duplicates of everything everywhere. And all of a sudden, it's just kind of a nightmare under your cabinets or in your shower or anything like that. One of the things that I struggle with is dry shampoo. I don't know why, but I do have like 4 bottles of dry shampoo. I have different kinds. I have spray ones, I have like the powder ones. I've got a different brand because I like the smell of this one better and this one is unscented. So I get it, and I am going through these as much for myself as I am for you because they're good reminders for me too that I need to be really cognizant of this so that I am not opening multiple things when it's not necessary. Okay, number 2 is to utilize bins or even lazy Susans where needed and label them if you need to keep them more organized with your family. So this one can get messy if you're not careful. You want to make sure if you're using bins or anything to organize things that you're actually using them for those purposes and they're not going to just become a magnet for junk. So that's where the labels do come in really handy. If your family is not sure how you organized it, it just makes it really super simple to grab things or put things away. Like my husband is fine with me putting things in bins, but he's not gonna know how I organized it unless he goes in and actually, like, figures it all out, and it's kind of annoying to have to do that, and then if he starts organizing it in a different system than it was in my brain, then all of a sudden it's off for me, and it just kind of creates a bit of a mess. So, we got just a cheap label maker and we've had a label maker for years, and then the battery compartment corroded, so don't store batteries in it if you're not using it. So we had to replace it. But what we did is, like, I just recently redid our, linen closet because we had bins in there and everything, but I'm like, "I just need to organize it a little bit more, um, a little bit more in depth." And so I got bigger bins and then I made sure they were labeled. So like in our linen closet, it's right outside of our bathroom and it kind of stores a lot of different things. So we've got like the sheets and the towels and everything like that, but in the top shelves of this linen closet, we have other things. So I put bins and then I labeled them. So we have shaving supplies. That's where all of the extra like shaving cream, razors, replacement razors, those little like Jill razors for, like women's facial hair, because yeah, I got those. Things like that are in the shaving supplies bin. And then we have another bin that is oral care supplies. This is extra toothbrushes, extra white strips, extra toothpaste, things like that. Dental floss, white or like I love the Lumino products, and then they also have mouthwash. Things like that are in the oral care supplies bin. Then we have the body care supplies. This is extra soaps, extra um loofahs, extra shampoos, things like that, or not shampoos, body washes. Things like that are in the body care supplies bin. So these are just extras of everything that are in the linen closet, and then what we're currently using is in the bathroom. So then as soon as something runs out, we have a bin that is right there and it's handy and I can just grab what we need and then we are good to go. But it keeps it organized, and since they're labeled, if my husband is going to find anything, all he has to do is look at the labels and he can grab what he needs right away. Or if he's putting something away, he knows what bin it goes in. And this would be the same if you have kids or anything like that, or even guests. If you open the closet and say, hey, take whatever you need, they are not digging into all the bins. If they're looking for an extra toothbrush, they can go straight to the oral care supplies and grab an extra toothbrush. Some other ideas might be in the bathroom. We have like a bin that's just first aid items. We have another bin that has natural remedies, which has like a bunch of homeopathics and essential oils, things like that. And then we have like personal hygiene items in another bin. In our living room, in the bin under the, uh, TV, like the cabinet under the TV, we have a bin with workout bands and, workout supplies, things like that. We also have a bin for Blu-rays and DVDs. We have not pulled those out in probably years. We could probably go through and organize or get rid of some of those. We always just use streaming services now, so we probably need to go through that. Some other ideas in the bedroom, which is like our guest bedroom and office, because the way our house is set up, like the guest room is my office, and then our other guest room is Tony's office, and then we have our bedroom as well. But since we both work from home, we kind of need an office. So we have in this office, in my office, which is also the guest room, we've got the bins for pens and highlighters and things like that for my desk. I have printer supplies in one bin, so it's tucked away and it's not just kind of all over the place. I have another bin that keeps my jewelry in acrylic drawers because our bedroom, like our personal bedroom, is really small. So I basically use the guest room and the office also as a closet. So I've got a lot going on in this room. But I keep my jewelry in here, I keep my clothes in here, all the things. And I have 2 desks because I have my personal business podcasting space, and then I have my actual full-time job desk with that equipment. So there's a lot going on in this little room. I hope I have it organized in a decent way, but there's just a lot happening in here. So it's really important to try and keep it as organized as possible. Another idea is in the kitchen. This one, we have bins for like on the go snacks, like little beef sticks and protein bars, things like that. We have another bin for sweet treats. This one often has those like unreal mini bars that are like the coconut flakes with covered in dark chocolate. Like Tony loves those. So we often have those in a bin up on the top of the pantry. So it's all the little sweet treats that are up there. And then we have an additional bin that holds all the stir fries, sauces, and things like that that are extra. It's also on the top, but rather than trying to dig around and see what we have, we can just pull that bin out, grab what we need, and put the bin back. It makes it super easy. We do this also for spices and herbs and things like that. In that cupboard, we can just pull out the basket. We have them actually divided up where it's like spices, herbs, and then baking supplies. And that has like the cornstarch, baking powder, baking soda, cream of tartar, like things like that are in that bin. So it's all divided up a little bit. And then we have lazy Susans in our house as well. We have a few of these. One of them holds like the spices and seasonings that we use a little bit more often. This is like the salt, pepper, the garlic powder, onion powder. Those types of things are in a little lazy Susan because we use them so much more often. So those are just really easy to access, and they're right next to the other spice bins. The other way we use a lazy Susan is in our cat or our cupboard in the kitchen where we keep our supplements. This makes it really easy to access, and we can just spin the lazy Susan and grab what we need when we're taking our vitamins and supplements. The third way we use those little lazy Susans, and when I'm talking about a lazy Susan, I'm talking about just the small, clear acrylic ones, but they have so many different kinds that you can use. This is just what we use. And they're probably like, I don't know, probably 12 inches in diameter. And then they just spin. And it's just like a little circular thing, and it's got probably a 2 or 3 inch ledge on the side. So it kind of keeps everything contained. And then you can spin it and grab what you need. The third way that we have been using these is for our oils, which has been so handy because we keep our oils and like cooking oils and stuff on in the cupboard above our stove. So they're higher. And when you've got lots of different oils and you're using, a coconut oil and olive oil and sesame oil and avocado oil and then a spray avocado oil, and you've got all these different kinds of oils, you're constantly shifting things around and moving things and having to take some down and then put it back up. And it just kind of gets annoying. And it takes up time when you're trying to make dinner quickly and you have to take a bunch of bottles down so you can grab what you need. We put everything in a lazy Susan. So all we have to do is just spin it, grab the one we need, and we're good to go. So that has been a game changer when it comes to like grabbing things quickly. And my husband isn't a huge fan of bins. He's fine with me putting them up, but a lot of times he would prefer just not having bins because he's very simple that way and he's just like, let's just keep it organized. I am a bin person, so he puts up with me because I like the way that it organizes in my brain. But that one he is like, that one I do really like. So if you only have one sort of bin or lazy Susan, maybe if you keep the oil high above your stove, that is a good way, a good one to implement if you need to. All right. Moving on, we have number three is to organize your space by where you naturally look for them or need them. And what I mean by this is just because it is kind of common, it does not mean that's the way you have to do it. So, what I mean by this is like if you are doing, your kids' hair and you're constantly like getting your little girls and you are putting their hair up in the entryway on your way out the door, then instead of, stressing out and trying to go find your hair supplies and having them bring it to you, and then you've got a brush hanging out and you've got, little ponytail holders hanging out, and you leave and all that stuff is kind of scattered everywhere because you were in a hurry, putting their hair into little pigtails or whatever you're doing, consider putting a little basket or bin of hair supplies in your entryway. That way, as you're leaving, you can grab your bin, you can put their hair up, and then you can leave. So maybe this isn't you. Maybe putting their hair or doing their hair is in the living room, and that's always where you do your hair. Well, why store everything in the bathroom if you're never doing their hair in the bathroom? One person I know actually keeps their hair products for their little girls in a drawer in the kitchen. And it might sound kind of gross to keep hair supplies in the kitchen, but as long as it's away from the food and that's always where you're doing their hair anyway, maybe that is a route that you want to take. So I'm just saying, consider what you are often doing in your house and see if there is a way that you can organize the space to actually work for the way that you live. It just makes things easier and less stressful, and you can find a way to do this in a way that's organized and neat and tidy and works for you. So, another idea is that if you're constantly doing your makeup in your office because there is better lighting, then don't keep your makeup in the bathroom. Put it in your office and have a space for it there so that you're not constantly shuffling things around and moving things. Make it work for your life. It is your home. You can organize it the way that works best for you. The fourth thing I want to say is to do regular 10-minute declutter hunts. These I have talked about often and they make such a big difference. Now, we all know that we should have a donation box in our house. I keep ours in the basement. But what you want to do is just have a space that you are gathering items to donate, and then you eventually, bring that box to the donation center, whether it's a regular time where you have it plugged in, or maybe it is just plugged into your calendar whenever it works for you, but you want to make sure you're scheduling that. But basically, when we are decluttering, instead of making it this huge ordeal, if we have an extra 5 or 10 minutes during our day or during our week or even during just the month, at some point, just set your timer for 10 minutes and grab some bags or boxes that you can use for trash, use for donate, use for recycle, or even another one might be for consignment. If you prefer, going through your clothes and doing a consignment and actually selling it and try and make a little extra money, that's another bag or box that you could have handy. But basically, you're just going to set your timer for like 10 minutes and go through your house and find as much as you can to put in these bags. And what you're going to do is you're just going to either focus on one specific area or one room, or just go through and grab what you can see. And when the timer goes off, you're done. And it can be super simple and you can get so much accomplished in 5 or 10 minutes. Like, you will be shocked at how quickly the time goes and how much stuff you can actually go through, because you can take a space and you can have it completely decluttered in just that 5 or 10 minutes. It is an amazing way to just quickly go through some things and get rid of stuff. And then once you're done, obviously put the trash in the trash, put the recycle in the recycle. In If for your items to donate, just go put those in your donation box so that they're ready to go next time you do a drop off. And if you're doing a consignment drop off, then you could even just put those next to your donation bin and do them at the same time. When you go to drop off the donations, stop at the consignment shop and go through those and drop those off as well. Or maybe do the consignment first in case they don't take anything, and then you can add those items to the donation drop off. That's how I would do it. But you can do it however you want. But these regular 10-minute declutter hunts are a great way to just quickly go through, get rid of stuff without it feeling overwhelming. Number five is to start small and break areas up into smaller areas that only take a few minutes. Now, you can combine this and do this at the same time as your 10-minute declutter hunts. But what I'm talking about here is actually taking a space and instead of looking at one huge space like your closet, like that can feel very overwhelming to declutter. And it's like, okay, I'm going to take a Saturday and go through my closet. That is a big project and it might get pushed off and pushed off and pushed off because how many of us have a fully open Saturday to go organize our closet? That's a lot of work. And we probably don't have that much time if we're kind of feeling busy or overwhelmed, or we just want to go spend it doing some fun stuff. This is a way that you can break this area up into smaller sections that are only going to take you a few minutes and it can go really quick. And you can just break it up into bite-sized things. So, if you're looking at your closet, then consider maybe just starting with your sock drawer, going through that, and then the next time you go into your closet, go through your underwear drawer. The next time you go into your closet, go through your bras. The next time, go through your jeans, then go through your t-shirts, then go through your hoodies, then go through your shoes, then go through your jewelry. Like you can break it up into these smaller sections that only take you 5 to 10 minutes to just quickly go through things and get rid of what you don't want anymore, throw them in donation. If they need to be trashed, then go ahead and do that. Or keep them and just go through one section at a time. And pretty soon you are going to have a fully organized and decluttered closet without having to take up an entire Saturday. It's just so much easier. And you're going to find that you are going to create a habit of decluttering a lot more often because you're just tackling really small spaces really quickly. And you might even find that it's easy to do a couple of these a day. Maybe you're cleaning out one kitchen drawer, maybe you're cleaning out one bathroom cabinet. It's just these little areas. Maybe it's just your hair supplies. It's things like that where if you're just focusing on one small area, it's so much easier to declutter and declutter consistently when you're breaking it up into these tiny little projects rather than these huge projects that take a lot more of your time. Number 6 is when you're putting things away and you're cleaning up your space, when you pick something up, ask yourself, do we really need this? Do we use it? Or are we just moving it from one place to another because it's in the way and it never gets put away? So, there are things to ask yourself about this as you're putting things away, because you might find that you are just constantly shifting something from one space to another, even though nobody actually uses it. My husband sent me a reel that has been going around. I've seen a lot of people recreate it, but he sent me this and he's like, "You need to do a podcast episode on this." So I'm including this because of him. But there's a uh I guess topic, going around on these reels that's called the poop rule. And that's what this declutter hack is basically. And the poop rule is that if this item was covered in poop, would I try to clean it or would I replace it? And if you would not try and clean it and you wouldn't bother replacing it, then just get rid of it. Because if it's not important enough to clean off the poop or to replace it if it's covered in poop, then why are you keeping it now? You don't actually need it if you wouldn't replace it. So there you go. That is the poop rule. So because of my husband, I have included that. Um, and I think it is actually a really good question to ask yourself when you're going through things. It's like there are a lot of things in our house that I would not worry about cleaning or try and replace. So it's like there are a lot of things that I know that I could get rid of. So it's a good question. And then while you're doing this, also, you could also just put things in a box. If you're like, I could probably get rid of it, but I'm just unsure, put it into a box and then label it and then put maybe donate or put something, some type of note on it that allows you to hold on to those items and then plug it onto your calendar to put a reminder in of dropping off those items to the donation bin if they're still in there. So we did this with our kitchen utensils. And we went through our utensil drawer because we had a ton of them. And we were like, okay, let's pull out what we know we need and what we use often and see what is left. So we did that, and there were a lot of utensils in our kitchen drawer or in that supply drawer that we weren't using often or we weren't sure if we would use. So what we did is we pulled them into a box and we put them in the basement and we had labeled the box. And I just wanted to know that if we didn't actually pull anything from the box over the next how many months, then we probably didn't need those utensils. Well, we were just cleaning out the basement last week because we were like, let's go down and reorganize some stuff so that it's ready to put the Christmas decorations away, which we did yesterday. And it was just kind of reset and organized so our basement feels a little more fresh. And so when we were doing that, we went through and we found that box and it had all of those extra kitchen utensils. I can't talk. It had all those extra kitchen utensils, and we have not pulled anything out of that box. So, what did we do? We put them all in our donation box. And so, knowing that we didn't actually need that stuff, but we still had it just in case, it made it easier to donate them at the end because it's like, okay, we have not needed any of this. We can get rid of it. So if you're really on the fence about something and you think that you can get rid of it, but you're just unsure, do it that way. Put it away, put it into a box, but hold on to the box and put it on your calendar that, maybe put a description of where you kept the box and everything. So you don't forget about it when that reminder comes up on your calendar. But then when that reminder comes up, go check it. And if you have not pulled anything out of that box, then throw it in your donation box. And if you have pulled some stuff out of there, then keep what you've pulled out and then get rid of the rest. So that's an easy way to do it. You're not committing to donating everything right away, but it allows you to get it out of your house and see if you actually are going to miss it or not. Number 7 is to pay attention to areas that collect clutter often. Now, this might be countertops, it might be your desk, it might be your dresser, but ask yourself if this area collects clutter often, then what can I do to avoid the piles from building up? So, ask yourself if these items have a home. Are they getting piled up because there's just nowhere for them to go? Is it actually organized because this is where they belong. It's just kind of a mess. Like, can you get a bin or some sort of system set up where these items actually have a place where it looks like they're supposed to be there and it doesn't feel so cluttered? Can they go in a drawer that is nice and organized with bins, or can it be put into something where that is where they go, but it's in an organized fashion? Another idea might be if it often collects things on one space, like do you have the opportunity to do like a collection basket where, okay, if it's going to get dumped there, then put it in a basket. And then at the end of the night, when you are making dinner, have somebody, whether it's you, your husband, or a child, or something like that, grab the basket and go put all the items away. So you'd have to be careful about the collection basket because it is very easy to let that just become a dumping zone and then it never gets emptied. So be careful about that one, but it is an idea if you can stick to actually putting things away. Another thing is if your dresser is constantly getting piled with mounds of clothes, then could you add some hooks either to the side of the dresser or inside the closet or behind the door where you have hooks where you can hang up these clothes where they have an actual space that they can go where you don't have to rehang them because you're going to wear them again or something like that, but you can get them off of the dresser, off of the floor, and you can have them hanging somewhere because that's actually where they're going to go until you finish wearing them and you throw them in the laundry. So, those are just some ideas. Like, if you have a spot that is piling up and collecting this clutter, then what can you do to avoid this from happening? Number 8, now this one is just an idea because I obviously do not have children. But I wanted to include an idea of what I was kind of thinking if you had a lot of kids' toys. I know this is a big one that my siblings are constantly trying to dwindle down their kids' toys because over the years, a lot gets collected. I mean, they get Christmas gifts, they get birthday gifts, they get random gifts from people, and there's a lot of different toys coming in. And if you have multiple children and they each have their own collection of toys, it can be a lot. So, one thing I was kind of thinking is I wonder if you can kind of create this declutter habit with your kids as well in a positive way. So, when you have a kid that, maybe has a birthday and they've got all these new toys coming in, celebrate that, get excited for them, and tell them, like, that is amazing. Like, let's go make space for these new toys. And then get a basket and go to their toys and say, okay, let's make space for your new toys. What are some of your old toys that we can get rid of and give to another child that doesn't have any toys to play with, and we can donate these? So then they get to go through their toys and choose what they don't want anymore, and they can share with another child. And then it kind of helps them to kind of think about that in out rule, where when you have some things coming in, you're going to need to get rid of some things so it doesn't pile up. And then not only do they get to make space for their new toys because they're so excited, but they're also excited about giving toys to other kids and feeling really good about that act. So that's just something I was kind of thinking of. Like that would be a good way to kind of take care of the toy dilemma when you have a lot of new toys coming in. But rather than just getting rid of the toys on your own and having them be really upset about it, have them get really excited about it and go and pick the toys that they want to give to other kids. And then number 9 is to question the need for a junk drawer. Now, this one is kind of a big one because there are a lot of homes that have junk drawers. And we made a point that we just have never had a junk drawer. When we were in our apartment, when we were first married, it was a super tiny kitchen. And we had lived in an apartment for many, many, many years, and we just never had a junk drawer because we always had a really small kitchen. And now we have a home and we bought our home, but we also still have a really small kitchen because we live in a house that is over 100 years old and it's pretty small. So the kitchen is pretty tiny and we don't really have the space for a junk drawer. So we have never had one in our full married life, and we've been married for over 15 years. And it's never been an issue because everything has a home. We have no need for a junk drawer. So if you store, batteries in a junk drawer, we have got a battery case in our utility room. If you store pens and pencils and things like that, we have a little coffee mug that has some markers and pens and everything that we commonly use in our kitchen cabinet above our fridge. If you use a junk drawer for, like your screwdrivers and I don't know, pliers and things like that that you grab pretty often. Well, we have a toolbox for those in the utility room. So ask yourself what is in your junk drawer if you have one, and do you actually need it right there? And if you do, then great, keep it, and that's totally up to you. But if you have homes for all of these items and they're just not getting put away, well, like, congrats. You can actually, like, put those items away and you have a whole new drawer that has just opened up to give you extra space so that you can kind of go through and organize some things in your kitchen and spread things out so it doesn't feel so cluttered and full. So that is just a thing to consider is, do you actually need a junk drawer, or can you put all of those things in your home and open up some space so it doesn't feel cluttered and like just a drop zone? All right. So I am going on the time. I'm taking a lot of time in your day today. So, well, hopefully these are helpful because we ran through so many things and so many different ideas, and this is just something that you can take and implement one thing and then move on and add something else, and hopefully these give you lots of ideas to be inspired and to be really excited to start kind of shifting your habits and some of the routines that you have in place now so that you can regularly declutter and get your home feeling really good so that we don't have those cortisol spikes and we don't have the stress of all of the clutter in our homes, and we can feel good about the state of our homes, and it's easier to keep clean because there's not so much stuff everywhere. So, because we have taken so much time, I will very quickly run through those 9 habits that you can take to organize your home and reduce the clutter. Number 1, use what you have before opening new items. And if you want to have replacements, keep them in an organized storage area. Number 2, utilize bins or lazy Susans where needed and label them if you need to help keep them organized. Number 3, organize your space by where you naturally look for items or where you need them. Don't just do it because that's what's commonly used. It is your home. Organize it the way that works best for you. Number 4, Do regular 10-minute declutter hunts where you are searching for trash, donation items, recycle items, and even consignment items. If you are somebody that likes to use consignment, just set your timer for 10 minutes, go through and gather up as much stuff as you possibly can to help get rid of the clutter. Number 5, start small and break up those larger areas into smaller areas that only take a few minutes so that you can regularly declutter and accomplish larger projects, but on a much smaller scale and over time so that they aren't so daunting and you don't have to take such a big chunk of time out of your week. Number 6 is when you are putting things away, question what it is and whether or not you really need it. Do you actually use it? Are you just moving it from one place to another? And this is also where that poop rule comes in, that if it was covered in poop, would you try to clean it or would you worry about replacing it? And if you are concerned about getting rid of things completely, then consider just putting them in a box to actually hold onto and maybe donate. And then put it on your calendar to check in on this box. If you need something out of it, then go ahead and pull it out and then you can keep those items. But if you come to the time on your calendar and there are still items in that box that you have not needed and you have not needed to pull out, then they can go ahead and go in the donate pile because you have confirmed that you don't actually need those items. Number 7 is to pay attention to the areas that often collect clutter. These might be countertops, desks, dressers, things like that. And think about what you can do to avoid the piles. So find some solutions on the specific areas that tend to accumulate clutter. Number 8 is when you have kids' toys coming in, consider asking them to go through their toys and see what they want to donate to kids that need toys, so that they can make room for their new toys coming in, so that you're getting rid of things in a positive way that they're a part of, so they feel better about that and they're not upset about you getting rid of their toys. And number 9 is to question your actual need for a junk drawer, or if you can put it all in its homes and open up the space. So I hope these were super helpful for you. I hope they gave you some inspiration to go and get rid of some of the clutter in your home and feel really good about doing it and not feeling like you have to take so much time to start making big changes, because those small changes do truly add up. And over time, you will find that your home just feels cleaner and cleaner because you are getting rid of that clutter regularly, because you're just making these small habits and routines just part of your life, and it just makes things so much smoother. So I hope you enjoyed that. I will catch you on the next episode. Take care. If you have been dreaming of finding the perfect paper planner, look no further. My favorite paper planner is the Dream Planner by Horatio Printing. They have nice thick pages, so there is no bleed through. There are simple, clean lines, so you can keep it super minimal if that's your style, or you have the space to get really creative if you like doing decorations or washi tape or stickers and all the things. There is enough structure to keep you organized without it being overwhelming. And there are even pages to plan your annual goals and dream, and even do a check in each quarter. There are plenty of pages in the back, and this is where I like to track our marriage goals, my cycle, podcast progress throughout the year to keep this podcast going, my annual task list, and even habits that align with my goals. My favorite version is their black leather lay flat version, but you can also get other colors or even the spiral bound version if you are a spiral kind of girl. So I use my Google Calendar for my schedule, but if you have been listening to the podcast long, you know that I use my paper planner to plan out my upcoming week every Friday morning during my morning routine. This is a time that I can see my day stacks, I can plug in my priority tasks for the week, and update my habit trackers to see if I am on pace to reach my goals. It is one of my favorite times of the week, and I love my paper planner. It's the only one that I've been able to stay consistently using throughout the entire year, and I love it. So once they sell out, they are gone for good. So you're going to want to grab yours quickly before they are gone if you want one for 2025. You can go to horatioprinting.com. That's HORACIO printing.com and use code Renae15 for 15% off your entire order. That's RENAE THE15 to get 15% off. You are not going to be sorry, and you will have so much fun planning the year ahead.